So today I'm going to repot this plant that most people would call a Christmas cactus. People tend to call all plants that look like this a Christmas cactus. This one is actually a Thanksgiving cactus, and you can tell that by the leaves. If it has more pointed leaves like this, then it's actually a Thanksgiving cactus. A true Christmas cactus will have more rounded leaves right here and won't have those pointing little spikes. A Thanksgiving cactus blooms from November to December, and a true Christmas cactus blooms later in December. So this particular plant was damaged a couple years ago when a mouse burrowed in the middle of it and nested inside. So it killed all of those stems in the middle and all the root structure, but the owner wanted to keep the plant because it had sentimental value to them. So they filled the middle with regular potting soil and then took some cuttings off of the remaining stems and tried putting them down in the middle to see if those would root. And as you can see, it's been a couple years and this plant has survived, but it is definitely not thriving. And you can tell that by first the color of these leaves. They're very yellowed. They feel very thin and flimsy, and they're very wrinkly. This could be either too much water or the fact that regular potting soil was used, which isn't very well draining for what these plants need, or they haven't had enough water. My guess, just from feeling the soil right now and the fact that regular potting soil was used, would lead me to believe that this plant probably is getting too much water, or the soil just isn't draining enough, so the roots are sitting in water for too long. I haven't dug down in here yet, so I don't know what's going on with the roots of this plant, but we're gonna take it all the way down to the roots and then start over with the correct potting soil and the right size pot. It's likely that this plant will need a smaller size pot now as well, because they don't like, this type plant does not like being in an overly large pot and wants to have a little bit of crowdedness in there. It needs to have the roots a little closer together. It doesn't want a pot too large for the roots. So we may have to put this in a smaller pot as well. Okay, I'm going to start by getting it out of this pot and see what we have going on with the roots here. First, I'm going to look at these little cuttings that they took and placed in the soil and see if any of them actually have any root structure. That one's loose in there, so it looks like it has developed a little bit of a root structure, but it was just very loose there in the pot. So we're going to go ahead and take that one out. I'll put it back in a minute. It looks like that one also is loose. That one appears to have, I can tug on it a little bit and it's not loose. So that one appears to have developed enough root structure that it's pretty solid. Same with that one there and this one as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of this pot very carefully and see what we have going on here. Okay. So I would just want to gently, first of all, remove the soil from the leaves or from the roots that are here. I'm gonna loosen it and remove any excess. All right. There's not a lot of root structure here, and this soil is pretty damp, so it probably was potted in the wrong type of soil. It's probably what a lot of the problem is here. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep gently removing the soil from the roots, see if we can get it down, get rid of all this old soil, and see what we have here. Okay. Just gonna keep working at this, see what we can do. All right. Oh, we've got one of those new little cuttings right here, kind of breaking loose now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off and repot it in a minute when we're, okay. Okay, I've gotten most of the loose soil off of the roots here, and as you can see, the actual root ball is not very big. I've gotten all of that loose, and I think I said this already, but these plants don't like really big pots. They don't want to have a tremendous amount of room. They want to have just enough room for their roots. So I'm actually going to put it in a smaller pot than what it was in, because that pot was probably too big. I've got one here, got a couple extras here I'm testing, but This one looks like it would be about right. Fits down in there pretty good. So I think we're actually gonna put it in a smaller pot than what it was already in. We're gonna start with using the right type soil. They need some type of cactus soil, something very well draining. Regular household potting soil isn't gonna work well for these plants. So we're gonna fill, as you can see, this root ball isn't very deep here, and we've got a fairly deep pot. So I'm gonna fill it about halfway full with this cactus mix. And then, okay. Then I'm gonna go ahead and place this inside. And then we've also got this little piece that broke off a minute ago, one of the little cuttings that had rooted. I'm gonna kind of fit it here in the side. As you can see, we kind of have a bare spot here. We have a bare spot on both sides, but I think I'm going to go ahead and fit it in over here since it's already got some good root structure with it. As you can see there, I kind of fit it in right here. And then we've got another one of the cuttings that remained that they had put already here. And then I'm just gonna go, so as you can see, some of these are kind of loose and shallow. And now I'm just gonna backfill with this cactus soil, going around all of the stems here. So I also waited to do this until this plant had already bloomed for this season. You usually want to wait to do something like this at least until it's done blooming and before the next growing season, which would be spring. So this is a pretty good time here since it did go ahead and bloom in November and it's finished blooming now. If you pot it at the wrong times, it could affect growth and blooming for the next year. So this is a perfect time to work on this one. Okay, a little bit more soil here. Okay, so I think I've got it there. I've got all the little cuttings they had in the middle, plus the original few here. We've got the right type of soil now, the cactus potting soil. We're gonna give this a good water, and hopefully now this plant will turn from something that looks like it's in quite a bit of distress to what this one, hopefully by next winter we'll have one that looks like this. This is a this is a Thanksgiving cactus as well. As you can see, this one is thriving and doing really, really well. So the hope is that by next November that this one's gonna look as healthy as that one, and we'll get some beautiful blooms like that and have a much fuller plant. So I will keep you updated on the progress, but that is how you replant a Thanksgiving or a Christmas cactus.